There were 66 domestic violence homicides in North Carolina in 2016. 14 of those were murder-suicide. The oldest victim was 73, and the youngest victim was 5. The father killed his ex-wife, his ex-girlfriend, and her 3 kids, and 2 of which he was the father. The other kids were 7 and 11. They all suffered traumatic head injuries and were believed to have been beaten with a hammer. Last year, Safe and Lenore County assisted over 627 victims. 27 of those were sexual assault claims. We assisted them with advocacy, shelter, filing protective orders, referral information. In 1988, when SAFE started, we answered 350 hotline calls. In 2016, we answered 2,219 calls from people seeking assistance or support for domestic violence. I believe that everyone knows what domestic violence is, but surprisingly, not everyone knows if they're in a domestic violence situation. If you are being slapped, punched, bitten, pinched, pushed, kicked, beaten, shaken, you are in a domestic violence situation. If you are being called demeaning names, forced to have sex, denied medical treatment, you are in an abusive situation. Just because you are married is still abuse, and you don't deserve it. You didn't ask for it, and it's against the law. Domestic violence, also known as domestic abuse or spousal abuse, occurs when a family member or partner or ex-partner attempts to physically or psychologically dominate another. Domestic violence often refers to violence between spouses, but can also include cohabitants and non-married intimate partners. It is also perpetrated by both men and women. The physical abuse, sexual abuse, or emotional abuse. It may also include intimidation, economic deprivation, or threats of violence. Who is the victim and who is the victimizer? You cannot pick a domestic violence victim out of a crowd. She is not your poor, uneducated black woman. She is rich, poor, educated, uneducated, black, white, Hispanic, Asian. She is your teacher, your doctor, your nurse. She is the lady next door, your best friend, your sister, your mother, and she may be sitting right beside you. All of us know one or have been one or may be one now. And who is that will make a woman with 2 black eyes walk into our office and say, I want to take out choices against him. I don't want him to lose his job. I love him. And she can hardly see through her black eyes how to fill out the intake sheet. Who is that bad boy? Because that's a bad boy. Who is it that can have a woman go in, press charges, stand before the court, stand up before the judge, drop the charges, and then turn around and pay the court costs? Who is it? Just like the victim, you won't know him, but for different reasons. Often he is a con artist. To most people, he's a great guy, a pillar in the community, head of the deacon board. Now, that's not always the case. Sometimes they don't try to hide what they are or who they are. They may be different in appearance and personalities, but they share something in common: the need for control. They want to control every aspect of her life: where she goes, what she does, who she sees. All over North Carolina and every other state in America, women are being beaten every day. Domestic violence. It is estimated that 29.1% of African American females are victimized by intimate partner violence in their lifetime. Stalking, rape, physical assault. They experience intimate partner violence at a rate of 35% higher than that of their white females, and about 2.5 times the rate higher than other races. However, they are less likely than white women to use social service, battered women programs, or go to the hospital or law enforcement because of domestic violence. Why? Many reasons. Culturally and historically, African American women have been looked to as protectors of the family and community. Family is extremely important to them. They've been told to stick it out. It's better to have a mom and a dad in the house, no matter what. They have dreams of being part of that perfect family they've seen on TV, where the father stays, they don't leave. And as a result of historical and present-day racism, she may be less likely to report her abuse or seek help because of discrimination, because of the African American man's vulnerability to police brutality and negative stereotypes. Sometimes they fear the non-arrest of suspected abusers, and it makes them reluctant to involve their vulnerability and discourage some from speaking out about the abuse. Unfortunately, some people still prejudge you when you walk through the door. You may not get the help your white counterpart gets. It's just life. But I have been working in this field almost 30 years, and every domestic violence victim that comes into my office says the same thing. It doesn't matter if she's black or white or red. Whatever the story is the same. His name may be Johnny, Joe, or Rick. He may have used his hands, a knife, or a gun. They tell the same story, and I haven't met a victim yet who wants to be beat. What can you do to help? Statistics show that African American women typically comprise about 70% of the black congregations. Religious convictions and fear of shame or rejection from the church may contribute to the remaining in abusive relationships. Some believe, because of their religious belief, they must impart forgiveness for their abuse, behavior, and endure the abuse due to religious obligations under Christian doctrine. This form of religious maternalism or caretaking toward their spouse casts them as the husband's protector and makes it more difficult for women to report their abuse or leave their abuse. It is important that the faith community not be silent about domestic violence. It happens. If you don't believe it, turn on the TV, read the newspaper. The church has a responsibility to its members to provide information and guidance for adults as well as teens seeking help. I was excited and encouraged about coming to speak on this subject. Be prepared. Educate yourself on the subject. Attend workshops. Set up trainings for some of your members of the church. Encourage members to be volunteers. Develop a relationship with your domestic violence program. If someone's approached you to help, offer a listening ear and direct them in the right direction. That does not mean that there is no room for godly counsel. It means that it's important for her to be safe. It's important for her to know that there is help available to her. She is not alone. The church cannot have a deaf ear when it comes to domestic violence. Domestic violence is never okay, and it's never the victim's fault. No matter what they have done, if she comes home late, stays out all night, refuses sex, you still must keep your hands to yourself. It's not only wrong, it's against the law. And finally, ladies, to you, domestic violence and low self-esteem go hand in hand. You will not find a woman dealing with domestic violence, which has a domestic violence problem, that doesn't have a self-esteem issue. She may be good at hiding it, but there's self-esteem. The self-esteem is the way you feel about yourself, your self-image. But it's so much more than that, just a mirror image. It's a consciousness, a way of being and living that has the power to devour and diminish or discourage or encourage and increase. It is made up of thoughts and feelings you have about yourself. The more positive feelings you have about yourself, the higher your self-esteem. The more negative feelings you have about yourself, the lower your self-esteem. One of the things that I do at SAFE is teacher empowerment class. And one of the main issues we deal with is low self-esteem. If you can imagine someone constantly telling you, you're no good, nobody else wants you, you can't make it on your own, you'll be back, you're fat, you're ugly, you're stupid, that can play on the way you feel about yourself. You may actually start to believe it. Every domestic violence victim will tell you that the physical violence is terrible, but the emotional abuse is twice as bad. Low self-esteem can make you feel ineffective, worthless, and incompetent. As I began to do research on self-esteem, I decided I would single out the African American women. We're at the top of the list for low self-esteem. According to one article, young girls were shown a black doll and a white doll and asked which one was good and which one was bad. And all the girls said the white doll was the good doll and the black doll was the bad doll. Now I found that a little hard to believe, so I'm gonna have to do a little bit more research on that. We as black women should really feel proud now because we've had a black first lady, a sister, and she's beautiful and she's smart. But that's Michelle Obama's story. How about your story? We may not realize it, but we speak to our consciousness with our thoughts. Our mind and our consciousness engage in conversations throughout the day. When our minds reveal our thoughts to our consciousness, and you're thinking, I'm no good, I'm not pretty, or I'm stupid, our consciousness internalizes our negative do they stay? That's a good reason, a good question. And there are lots of reasons. Finances, children, they believe that they can change you. It's not going to happen. What can I do to help? Share the information. I've got a lot of information over here for you today to look at. Share the information. If you know somebody who's just a victim, that is a victim, or you think is a victim, share the information that you received today. Volunteer. We're always looking for volunteers. We have a lot of volunteer positions open. We would not be able to have a 24-hour hotline if we did not have volunteers that would help us out. And if you really want to help stomp out some of this domestic violence, let's educate our young people. You would be surprised to know the young people who are experiencing domestic violence. And as anything in my life, I associate it with Christ. If you're having a problem with self-esteem, I know a problem solver. There's someone who does not care who you are or where you've been. Until we as women of color realize and recognize that we are settling for mere existence instead of aspiring to excellence, then we will continue to live our lives far below the potential that God has set for us. We will continue to live our lives that way. We will continue to live our lives in discord from the bright future our ancestors toiled and paid for us. If we pray for guidance and walk with faith, no, not fear, God will walk us through the fires of our trials. Faith is the pure fuel that promises an answer. Faith is the promise that builds our African American self-esteem. I want to leave you with something. One of the things that I do, and I got a lot of information up here, and I'm ready to answer the questions. One of the things that I do, I write poetry. I write Christian poetry, and I'm a poet. Most of the time I say my poem, but it's been a long time since I said this, and I want to get it right. It's called I Come with Baggage. Broken spirit, wounded mind, tortured soul, robbed blind, damaged goods is how I'm tagged, torn and tattered, wrapped in rags. But if you want me, I come with baggage. I come with my mama's eyes and my daddy's lies and the memory of a master's lips. The taste of disappointments on my lips, secrets I'll carry to my grave. And people wonder why I walk the way I do. I'm carrying a lot on this one back. I'm carrying baggage. I'm carrying years of frustration, shame, humiliation, neglect, rejection, abuse, and misuse. Longing for the touch of a mother's hand, or the love and trust destroyed by one man. But if you want me, I come with baggage. Lost, tormented, misunderstood, ripped from the scenes of my childhood, yearning for a daddy I never had. Sometimes it gets so heavy, I bend my knees in pain, yet I still remain conscious of who I am. I'm holding the burden of faces with no names and babies that never came, and the shame of a child who is just too young to understand the meaning of life. An empty heart, my torment of myself. It made me cry out for help, and I stood alone, carried back. And Jesus said, I'll take you just as you are, with your wounded mind and your broken spirit, with your belly wrenching cry. I hear it and I still want you. I'm your mama, I'm your daddy, I'm your man, your friend. Just let me in. Don't worry about your pain or your scars, about your torture or your secret, but just as you are. That's how I write. Did I ever ask you for perfectness? It never mattered to me. I could see I love you